Hi, this is Amy Steele from Friday the 13th Part 2. Ginny. I'm sure you guys know me as Ginny, the one that kicks ass, the one that lives, the one that survives. That's me. You are listening to the Timo and Harley Show. Awesome show, awesome people, awesome guys. Have fun.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Harry Henderson Harley.
That's me. That is I, my friend. Well, I'm not quite too very hairy, but a little bit. That's more like my brother. I
got you. That's a little tribute. We've got Fact or Fiction Fest this weekend. Angio and I are going to go help our good pal, Mr. DVD Bob, do his thing and kind of keep an eye on things over there at Fact or Fiction Fest. Kind of see if I see Jeff Byers waving a white flag. That might be when we run in for the assist.
No mas. Yeah. Tag in, Timo. We need you to tag in.
Right. Now, since this is going to be the biggest building I think that Horror Hound's ever been in, might be a few people there. Maybe a few.
Maybe a few.
Yeah, you know, pretty much all of the conventions these days have become more like private parties. You see, and we've been in a couple of them. I'm just saying, but you see like pictures of people coming back on. I had such a great time, and they're taking pictures, and it's like a ghost town behind them. It's like, wow, you know, gee whiz, you know. Horror Hound, I think, has sucked up a lot of those people, for better or for worse, whichever. Doesn't matter. But they've definitely they're like the Wizard World of horror. In a way. I like that. I would really like
Comic-Con.
Yes, pretty much. And I'd like to see him stick closer to horror.
Me too.
You see some guests on there like, that person was an IndyCar driver. I don't understand what they're doing there.
Hey,
you know?
Mario Andretti likes Halloween just as much as the next guy. No.
Unless I can get a Dick Trickles autograph, I don't want to hear about it. So, but
Dick Trickle, oh man,
going to have some fun. Speaking of Fact or Fiction Fest, got a little note from our good pal, Mr. Mark Sova, who is an enthusiast of pretty much anything paranormal, at least interested in it, and actually said that was a very good point I made the other week about the rocks being thrown and how persimmons fall and hit the ground and sound like, you know, cinder blocks hitting the ground. I think you were talking about acorns in your roof.
Yes.
And things like that. It's like, well, you can't find the rocks. Maybe they're not there. Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
You know?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Somebody says, go find your Aunt Gertrude. Well, she's not in the bedroom. She's not there.
She's been abducted by aliens. No, you know, it is a valid point, Tim. I mean, come on, like,
right. I'm not saying that every person has rocks when it says I can't find them, but when you're telling me a story and I'm watching you telling me a story and you say one of the odd things is I can't find the rocks. One of the odd things is you can't find rocks and you just automatically assume they are rocks. You know, being thrown.
I don't think a Bigfoot's gonna throw a rock at your place and then run over and pick it up again. No, I don't think so. Well, unless it's his favorite rock, though. Then again,
and I'm not even sure they were implying that. I don't even know what they were trying to imply.
Me either. That doesn't make much sense, but whatever, you know.
Yeah. Mr. Ben Harley, it doesn't matter. Look, and here's the thing, too, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording the show, is that as much as I sit here and cranky complain about people having rocks on them and assuming it's Bigfoot, I also have a cranky problem with people saying, yeah, that's normal. No, it's not normal either. You know, it's like you just don't have to jump to one conclusion. And for the skeptics, they'll jump to any wild conclusion just as much as a Bigfoot person is. How about this? Maybe this is why I don't like the politics of life anymore, Mr. Ben Harley. How about people just sit down and talk and figure out what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
For real. Don't come in going, it had to have been big. No, it didn't. It didn't have to be, but you can't tell me it's not possible either.
Right.
And therein lies the mystery. Therein lies the fun of the whole thing. Is that if you kind of don't believe, get a little curious, maybe have a little curiosity about the world and about
some
life.
Fun with it.
Yeah. Say, what are these people? What are they saying? Why are there some very credible, smart, not crazy people who claim they have seen this? Because they've seen something. That's what it is. I don't know why this has to be double explained anymore these days, but it is what it is, I suppose. But that statement's gone out the window in 2019. Things are not what they are. There's something completely different. We've been fooled our whole lives, So about everything apparently, because everyone's smarter now. I don't understand even what the hell I'm talking about, and I don't understand what society is talking about either. It is what it is. Some people have seen some things, had some experiences, and they're going to be at Factor Fiction Fest. I'm going to be there, Mr. Ben Harley, like a shark with my fin out of the water.
You are.
I want to challenge you. But no, I want to have fun challenging people because I believe that I'm a friendly challenger.
Sure.
I want to know. I've had things, I want people to challenge me. We both had a couple stories.
That I'll agree with, I think, a little bit, Timo. There, I think the underlying theme, Timo, is I think you do want to be challenged by these. And all right, Timo, with you and I, and it harkens all the way back to the poster of our stalking Bigfoot. I tend to have some rose-tinted glasses, and you are more of the skeptic, and it's just fun because we can play off each other a lot more. Now, I've become a lot more skeptical. Now, there was many years I didn't really believe. I was very upset. I think when you and I first started the podcast, I might have made a comment about, if this isn't real, I'm punching Roger Patterson in the face when I get to heaven. And I was angry, but I tend to, because of the more people that not believe in it, but have seen something, and the more credible people, firemen, police, a lot, people who have a lot to lose, mayors of towns, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's like the UFO thing too, though. I think we need to sit back and go, look, there's a real possibility that these people, like the government is not a mechanical monster that roams the countryside. It's people. It's us. It's people. It's a giant collection of people. And what do we know about people? They ruin everything. And you get enough people together, and there's a lot of bad apples in that apple cart, okay?
And you put them in the government, and then it's ruined it even more.
Right, and the government reflects us. It does. For everybody that complains about whoever is in the presidency and some, look in the mirror. That's what they are. I mean, they are a reflection of what we are. We have ourselves to blame or to thank, whichever one you decide to choose. Personally, I think it's always somewhere in the middle. I don't think anything's ever as bad or ever as good as anybody's saying. No. And I kind of feel like we've lost some of that. That the people who are trolling down the middle of the road have become somehow villains. Because I guess people are so ingrained on one side of an argument, and it's not just politics, it's anything. Bigfoot's a good example of like how people are so dug in their trenches. It's like, just because you believe in something in a black and white way doesn't make it so, because no matter what you believe or what you think, whatever is will be, regardless of what you say or think. You can identify as anything. It doesn't change what you really are.
Right.
So, and I don't have to be offended that you do that. And I can be if I want to. It's a free world. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, it doesn't matter.
You're free to be offended.
With the Bigfoot stuff, for me, it's kind of like, look, everybody we talk to seems to say that sightings of these things are maybe a once in a lifetime, very rare type of thing. And yet these same people claim to have a lot of experiences.
Yes.
To me, there's a bit of a rub there. Now, that being said, so I'm saying that someone might have had a legitimate experience and they so want to have that again that they got their eyes open for it. What do you do if you're looking around your house for something that's lost? You tear apart drawers, you look underneath things, you go, aha, it's not it. And keep looking, and I think that when someone has an experience, they go back in the woods like they lost their keys.
Yes,
and they're running around looking for them. And sometimes they think, that's where I left my key. No, it's not it. Wait, I know where they are. And they run and they get, no, it's not there either. And then maybe you find them, or something. But Maybe that's not the greatest analogy, but I think that some people are so ingrained in it existing or not existing that can we maybe have a tax day? Yeah. Like they have a tax for one day a year. Can we all just say, let's just talk about what we've really seen instead of being so ingrained? How about we try to find the truth, not try to prove your point of view?
Right. And I think a lot of people too, Tim, when they see these things or something, it opens up a whole new world to them. Now, I think
when I'm talking to people that are really skeptical and they don't care about the subject, so when you mention it, you just hit them out of left field, like you just told someone that you've been abducted by aliens. You know, it's like something strange. It's like, and I always say, but you really need to talk to these people yourself. I think what we're trying to say is sort of what you're getting to there. It seems to really change some of these people's lives in a way that's a real world change. It's not like,
and then they go out and they want, like you said, they gotta go. They want to go out into the woods. You got to go chase this.
They got to go see it again. They have to go because they don't believe what they saw either. I truly believe that. I believe that they are having a hard time accepting what. I mean, the whole interview, we had 2 weeks of Jeff Byers on here, and he was saying his family was worried about him. He wouldn't talk to the people who took him out to see, the people who took him out to do the Bigfoot research. After he went, he wouldn't talk to him for a couple weeks because he didn't know what to do with the information he had just gathered. He didn't know how to process it, and it really messed with them. Yeah, it messed with them because I think he enjoyed it, and then he saw, well, I want it to mess with me. Right, that's what I want. Right. I want it to mess with me because I want to have that moment because I've been listening to both sides of this, and at some point it's like, all right, now I want to know what the truth is. Right. No, you know, for some, it's just, it's overwhelming. Like the one gentleman we've talked about before, he said when he saw it, his brain shut down, rebooted. And then he was like, wait, you know what I mean? What, you know, like, because it stepped, like he said, it stepped out of fantasy into reality and it just blew his ever loving mind. Right. Now for stuff like that, Tim, I don't know if I would love to see it. It would affect me. It would probably, at first, very emotionally, you know what I mean? But then later on, I would enjoy it. But it would just, you know, I was just talking about the other day, they have a Star Wars thing now where you can go and sit and walk into the actual big Millennium Falcon and sit in the cockpit and walk through it. I don't know if I could. My knees would get weak. I'd walk into that thing and be like, whoa. I would just like, it would be, to me, it would be overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just something that I think would never happen. Now, that's way off the left field from Bigfoot, but I'm just saying, if I saw a Bigfoot or I realized this thing is real, it would shake me. It would. Right. It would, and I think it would any normal person that would. I mean, you know, for me, I'd be happy. Yes, what you just said there is very big. Normal person, and I did bring up the point with Jeff Byers that every person seems to have their story. It's unbelievable. Every person walking the face of the earth has had like a ghost or seen something or an animal or something that they can't explain. But they'll all make fun of everybody else for taking that experience and wondering what it is to the point they do something about it. Because they will make fun of you. They'll make fun of you. And then when you say, well, what's your story? Well, I did have that one time. You know what you should do? Laugh at them. Say, that's ridiculous. That's so stupid. You believe in a disembodied spirit who rose from the dead in 3 days and you have a Bible. So why is it so impossible that there's an animal we haven't discovered? Right. I mean, you know, so you really have to get into it. They think you're going to turn into Richard Dreyfuss from Close Encounters and you're going to flip out and go, you know, you know what I'm saying? Mashed potato.
Yeah, you know.
Sculptures.
Of Devil's Ridge or whatever or something. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they just do it. And like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. You know, like, right. And I think people can have a healthy belief in it. Timo, there are places here I could go, and as I get older and I have more spare time. Yeah. That's funny. I just thought about that. Oh, right. Yeah. But as I get older and hopefully have some more spare time, I want to do these things. I want to go to where there were sightings and just mill around. I don't care if I see one or not, just for fun. But why not? Get outside. Sort of like what an astronomer does whenever there's evidence of a black hole that we can't see. There's no black hole. Sure. They go for the evidence and they keep looking and making observations until they find one. And, you know, it is what it is. They're kind of out there. You know, they're hiding behind space.
You know,
Yes,
and we find them. But hey, look, these are the kind of conversations that you see, that you hear, you know, at these shows. But I think you have to go with an open mind, and you have to listen to the people. You can't come in. You don't go into a gay bar, guns ablaze, going, I can't stand you gays. No, walk in with respect. You can be skeptical all you want to be, but just listen, and look at the person who's telling you, and you first of all decide for yourself whether or not they're lying. So when you get past that part, then you have to understand. Then you have to get to the point where what do they see in the real world, and is it exactly what they're describing? Because I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for people that are describing things, and people are like, yeah, whatever. It's like, that's really hard on people. I mean, it really is. It's like, let's help the person find out what it is. Let's do something. Give them a little credit to what they saw would have made you blow your mind too. Like
that's what makes people shut down. They don't want to talk about it.
Exactly, and that's why we don't have more.
And it's sad.
Yeah, they won't get really made fun of. Speaking of getting made fun of, Mr. Ben Harley, one of the things I watched this week. One of the things I watched this week, I did give to you. I wasn't even going to watch it, okay? But I decided, well, I'm going to give it a spin. It was Bigfoot Road Trip with Cliff Barrickman in it. I gave you a copy of this when I came up to visit you guys. And, I started watching this, and it was typical what I thought. Cliff thinks he's a funny guy. And I think he was like a second grade school teacher. I might have rolled my eyes and chuckled at him when I was in second grade. I'm not in second grade anymore. I don't find him funny at all. And he tries way too hard. And I was about ready to tap out on it until they started. They did have more intriguing. Let's talk to other Bigfoot researchers. I think they actually have Bobo. This was a while back because they have a campfire with Bobo and Bob Gimlin sitting together. It was okay. But again, I'm watching this thing going.
I think I've seen some of this, Timo, actually, too.
Ooh, it's silly. He's got a friend he goes with, and they have like fake Bigfoot, like plush Bigfoots.
Yes.
In there.
Don't they have? Do they have a puppet in there?
There's puppets.
I've seen it.
Yeah. The only thing missing is Cliff running in terror from a pig. That's about all we got. So, it was alright. It was okay. I almost did turn it off, and then there was a couple things in it that made me watch a little bit more interesting enough. If you look at it, and you do see some familiar faces that we've been around before at some of these shows. So, but anyway, if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. But I'm looking forward to this weekend, and we'll see if I get in any conversations. A lot of times I don't, because I'm not trying to challenge any of these people. That much. I got a lot of stuff to do. I don't really have a lot of time, to be debating this with people. But but then again, we have a table we have to help with and stuff. So come on out and talk to these people. If you think we're nuts, then you talk to them.
Right.
And we're not saying they're right. We're just saying they're not nuts. That's all. We're saying that there's a little more credibility there to the human beings that you're objectifying and making fun of than you think there is. These are real people with real problems, bills. They have to take Tums sometimes too. It is what it is. Let's see. Moving on. Let's get some more stuff I watch. Let's jump to as quick as I can, Mr. Ben.
Knock it out, Tim. Knock it out.
Let's see. I'd like to get out of here. I got a lot of stuff to do this week. So let's see.
Yeah.
I watched both. Speaking of sort of cryptozoology stuff, I watched both versions of Cat People.
Okay.
Angio this weekend.
What was the original version? What year was that?
That was 42. That was a Val Lewton movie.
Yeah. We've done that.
Yes. Yeah. And then the remake is the one with Natasha Kinski in it. And John Hurd's in it.
A little. Yeah, that.
Well, of course.
It was the age I was, Timo.
Yeah.
And there's some weird sexual stuff in there.
There is.
And guy gets his arm bit off. There's some crazy stuff in there.
The guy was Ed Begley Jr., believe it or not. But
that's right. Yeah. And then and Natasha Kinski was just really weird. Weird section. I don't know. It was just weird for me at that time period as a young
it was an erotically flavored horror thriller. But so was the original. It was just made at a time where things were a little more subtle, so it worked better. It was more compelling because of that.
Sure.
I'm still siding hardcore with the original. I don't know. And I used to hate the 82 version of Cat People with Malcolm
I
McDowell.
didn't hate it. It was just boring
stand
to
it.
me when
It
I was a kid. It was just boring.
Yeah. Oh, that's why I couldn't stand it, because it was boring. I didn't like it,
Yeah,
but,
I just didn't really get it. I just thought it wasn't my cup of tea.
Yes, I agree. But as I've gotten older, what I realize is I think I don't like a lot of what they added, and which was the backstory between her and her incestuous brother Malcolm McDowell and all that stuff. That's not in the original.
Now that's why I was weirded out. Okay.
Yeah, right. And that's not in the original. There's none of that kind of. I mean, it's definitely a woman. If she gets aroused, she can turn to a leopard and kill people and stuff. So it's handled so differently, in the original. Stick with the original, but don't give up on the remake. It's getting a little more interesting as time goes on.
It's not a bad movie. I just thought it was, for me, it was one of those where I was like, this is a little past me, and it made me feel weird. Stuff like that. Yeah. I was like, I don't know what this is, but, and.
Let's see, moving on from 1978, Mr. Ben Harley watched 78. The Boys from Brazil.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Starring Gregory Peck, Laurence Olivier, Uta Hagen, and that thespian himself, Steve Guttenberg.
Steve Guttenberg, yes.
We reviewed this with Danny Hicks, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah, the one where the Hitler babies are running around the countryside. Yeah. Gregory Peck is the angel of death, and it's something else. Lawrence Olivier is a great actor. I mean, really is. And so is Gregory Peck. Yeah, this is a neat movie that got by me when I was a kid. This is not it's not a kid horror film at all. It's more of an adult sci-fi thriller drama, in a way. It's genre defying. It's definitely genre defying. It's something else.
The Boys from Brazil always remind me. I thought it was a soccer movie when I was a kid. I'm sorry. It did. The title always threw me.
And the confused look in the poor little kid's Ben Harley's face when he thought he was going to watch a soccer movie.
What the hell is this? Yeah.
You see your brother come down. That's Victory, Ben. That's Victory with Sylvester Stallone and Pele.
Sylvester Stallone and Pele in it.
Michael Caine too, right?
Michael Caine. Oh, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good one.
Let's see. Boys from Brazil, kind of fun though. Another 70s icky movie, Mr. Ben Harley. The Devil Times 5 with Gene Evans in it. That's one where the kids they're being transported to another kid insane asylum, and the van crashes.
And
in the snowy mountainside, and they go terrorize a couple of couples that are spending some time together up in a cabin. It's icky. It's suitably icky. Kids killing adults and adults trying to kill children. Sounds like Vacation. Sounds like Vacation. Last up, Mr. Ben Harley, let's see. I told you to watch this. I hope you did. If not, I hope you will soon. Now, it says from 2019. This is on Amazon Prime, but Amazon's not always accurate with the year. Sometimes they just have the year it was uploaded on. I believe this might be a little older than that, like maybe between 2010 and now. It is called Eye of the Beholder, The Art of Dungeons and Dragons.
You told me about this, and I want to get hip to it. Because,
all right, now here's something.
Big influence on young Master Harley.
Well, here's something I don't talk about a whole lot, but when I was in grade school, I'd say from the ages, let's say 5th grade through about, 7th grade. I don't think 8th grade quite as much, but I was a Dungeons and Dragons little maniac. I was a little Dungeons and Dragons little nerd. We would sneak. We would find ways to play in class.
Oh my god!
In school, we did. We did. You'd be like, we had like something soft. You could roll a dice in your lap. We had every little thing. We would learn how to do this, and then we would play over the phone at night with each other too. I mean, we just found ways, and everybody who played D&D like kind of had their own version of the rules. Everybody did. Yeah, everybody kind of did. But this is cool because all those books that you had to buy to figure out like the strengths and weaknesses of the creatures and everything else along in your adventure were in these beautiful books with this really neat artwork.
Very expensive books.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. And I know you have some and I have some. But this is...
I'll tell you how I got mine.
Well, this is going back to where D&D started and how the art started and how the art really affected the world. How the D&D art affected the world as far as what does a dragon look like? As far as what does what do these creatures look like? What does an elf look like? And it really influenced everything that came after it, because right after D&D, then all of a sudden these fantasy movies started popping up, like Dragon Slayer and stuff. Now, here's what's interesting. At the time, not at the time I was playing D&D.
Yeah.
Okay, before that, when it started, like in 78, around in there, D&D was actually published out of Decatur, Illinois.
Whoa.
I lived at the time in Decatur, Illinois. My brother was one of the first people playing D&D because we lived in Decatur, and he submitted some of his artwork, Walt Disney style. That was his thing. Like like your thing was his thing was Dungeons and Dragons and comic books, as far as wanting to be an artist for them, his dream or whatever. And he said he actually submitted artwork, and they replied and said he had potential. Oh, they said, or whatever. So this one, he was in high school. He was in high school that he sent this stuff. So I did not know any of that at all. I think actually the game itself, I think, originated up in your parts around Ohio, I think. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of all this too, I mentioned Mark Silver earlier. I just realized something. I just wanted to mention that he's up here in your parts. He was restoring the Michigan Capitol building.
Oh wow!
He's part of that team, and I think they're there painting and restoring, kind of giving a facelift a little bit.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought I'd tell you that real quick. I don't know why it just jumped in my head. I was an artist and all this, and I know Sova had been in this stuff too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you liked like wizards and goblins and dragons and shit when you were a kid, or even Dungeons and Dragons, this is a really neat documentary. It does get a little geeky in the individual artists like Gary Elmore and people like that.
Oh, yeah, it's my dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go. Dude. Yeah. So, but
that guy influenced me more than probably anybody, which is weird because I didn't really realize it till many years later. And then I got to meet him. I was
gonna say, I know he's been at shows we were at. Yeah.
Yeah. He was supposed to be at Dead Dick Hammer's show, but then he canceled out. And then we met him when we were at, Fright Night. Not Fright Night. Yeah, Fright Night.
Okay.
One year. Mm-hmm. When it was, it was at the hotel there that time, the big, huge hotel.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. But you have to see this. And I told my brother the same thing. You guys have to see this.
Yeah. Well, it was funny, Timo, because as a kid, I wasn't a D&D nerd. Mm-hmm. I remember exactly where I was. We were at Matt Cheney's house. And we were going to try to play Dungeons and Dragons, and we tried, and I was like, this is just too much. And we all really just didn't get into it too much. But I sat there and looked at the books and looked at them, and I was like, these are great. And then some of my friends still tried to kind of, and it just never really took. So I ended up with all their books. I don't want this anymore. I'm like, I'll take it, and slowly I started to be more influenced and started to try to draw a little like that, but that Elmore, he, like I said, I was so influenced by him, and didn't really realize, like I said, till many, many years later, but I liked his stuff back then. I looked at it, I liked it, I absorbed it or whatever. And then I remember my friend Jamie had turned me on to these books, Dragonlance, and they were really good books.
They talk
about
those.
A reader.
Yeah, they talk about that game too as well, because it's the artwork they were doing. They were bringing the imagination to life. They were helping people give them some kind of starting point in their imagination. What does a bugbear look like? Yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah, and so I just started to really absorb the art and stuff from those a lot. But it's weird because as I got older and I started to go back and look at some of my influences, he stuck out as one of the biggest. And it's just weird because I never thought as much. Then I look at his art and it's like everything that I try to put my art and things that I do and stuff that I hang my hat on, I see in his work. I'm like, holy shit. And his stuff, I don't care what, now some of his stuff's a little different. It's not as painterly as like a Boris or anything like that, but I tend to like his stuff more because it has more fluidity to it. It has more of a movement to it and stuff like that. And I just love the way he sets up a drawing, sucks you into it. And it has different angles that bring you to maybe a center perspective. Well, and I just, like that stuff a lot. And he did all the Dragonlance books. He did a lot of the covers and stuff for that. So,
and I misspoke. It's Larry Elmore. I said Gary, I think. I meant Larry. It's just one of those things. But They did talk about how what was interesting about those artists is that they basically told a story in one picture, and that's what a great painting does in the beginning. Anyway, but we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons here. We're not talking about the Mona Lisa.
He's from real close to Bowling Green, Kentucky. He lives really close. That's where he's from. That's how Dick Hammer knows him.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that stuff, Timo, it did. You're right. It influenced so many people. Now, it didn't influence me so much with the game.
Yeah.
But my art would not be the same. I would not be the same artist by any means. And I don't draw dragons and dungeons and skulls that much anymore.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. And I was honest then. I was one of the kids whose grades dropped. I really got into it. I mean, way too much. And I kind of obsessed over it very deeply for kind of a short stint of time, a year or two.
That's
really
weird,
it.
Tim.
Yeah.
Not that I think you're weird, but I I don't picture you as a Dungeons and Dragons nerd.
But I think what happened is I sat down. We went. Pete Newell, who I had a lunch date with not too long ago, a friend I had since grade school. I think I talked about on the show a couple years ago. He played. And he was our first dungeon master, and he was pretty good at, even as a kid, he was good at getting us into it. Because he said, listen, I'm going to show you how to play. So what he did is he rolled and we created characters. That was boring and stuff. And then he sat down and said, okay, you guys are walking down a path. And as soon as he said that, I was in. I was in. All of a sudden my mind was like, and I said, okay. He goes, you come to a door. I go, well, what do I do? Well, what do you want to do at a door? Open it? Okay. And he rolled dice. I'm like, oh, wow. And so we just kind of went on from there, and I got real into it. And I don't know what happened. I don't know. Like I got Dragon's Lair, ironically, with video games. My excuse why I don't like them anymore. I don't know what got me on it. I think I might have either discovered girls.
Probably rock and roll music.
No, I had the rock and roll. I did think I was listening to Yngwie Malmsteen, I guess, at the time.
Oh wow! There you go.
Or Ingvar Balbstern or whatever his name is, Yngwie Malmsteen or whatever.
Yngwie Malmsteen. No,
I know, but I see a lot of funny little connotations to his name and stuff. But I don't know. But this documentary is just fascinating. It's just fascinating, and yeah, you got to kind of like the art of it. But still, I really want you and my brother to both see it for different reasons and for some of the same reasons. Well, it's Eye of the Beholder, The Art of Dungeons and Dragons on Amazon Prime. Look it up. What you got, Mr. Ben? I know you watched these couple things. Nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you do.
No, I got a few things, buddy.
Throw it out.
All right, Tim, I'm not going to stay too long on it, but I did watch that documentary that you told me about, though, the Before the Light Comes or something about the
black metal bands and
Mayhem.
Yeah, Norway. Yep.
Yeah. I will agree with you that Norway is the way to go if you want to go to prison. Not that I want to go to prison.
Looked like a pretty comfy stay.
You can do anything you want. You only get 21 years
for murder.
And then there were curtains on the windows in this place. I'm like, wait a second, this don't look like any prison I know of. So boring, kind of boring.
Yeah,
it was all right. It was okay. It was nowhere near as not fun, but near as engrossing, I guess, as that film was. So yeah, but no, thank you. Thank you because I did enjoy watching it. It just wasn't. I was lost for a little bit. Like, what the hell's going on? It was kind of confusing. And I think it was the way the documentary was set up.
It was confusing. I watched the beginning. I didn't finish. I did watch the beginning of. What was the movie you watched? The start of this whole thing.
Lords of Chaos.
Yeah, I did start. It's on Hulu. Yeah. I did detect it on Hulu. I did watch probably the first half hour of it. I just hadn't gotten to the rest of it yet. And there's a huge contrast to those two things.
Yeah.
And
big time.
I'm looking at the real people, and then I was looking at the movie going, the movie was not, I don't think the movie, these people.
It's a Sid Nancy thing.
What did I tell you? They're lame.
It's a Sid Nancy thing.
Yeah, these kids are lame. They're lame.
Yeah.
They wear black makeup and stare off into space like it's supposed to be creepy, and they sit there and talk
that's what's
about.
So funny too, because during it, it's like I at one point I was like, are these guys just doing it as a goof, and I think in a way it sort of was a little like they didn't really. They took it serious as far as like he was promoting it serious, but I don't think that main guy really was that like because it's like, is these guys just like pretending to be Satanists and just goofing off in the basement doing bongs and painting their face, or what's going on? I didn't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's weird. It's an odd movie. That's what I mean. It's just odd, which is okay. It's awkward too. It's an awkward, odd. Like
Yeah, and it's
movie
like
to me.
it's sort of like they had a point, but they never got around to making it.
Yeah,
and they would sit there and say they were just looking for the truth. Like, look, anybody young who's obsessed with the truth, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you just don't know what you don't know what you want to do. That's your problem.
Truth is what's around you. Deal with it. Move forward. You know, and they were trying to really. It was almost like they looked like Satanists. They made everyone think they were Satanists, but they weren't Satanists because they don't even believe in God. They believe in Norse mythology, and I'm just like, I don't. So you're burning. I don't. None of it made any sense to me. Yeah. I couldn't follow the logic of anything they were doing. I couldn't understand the story. Yeah, and I couldn't understand the story of like.
It makes more sense in the movie. It does.
It seemed to.
It plots it out a little bit more as far as who's who, and basically the one guy was just like a groupie almost. Like he was a nerdy groupie guy that liked them, and then he started to hang around. But once the guy heard his music, he's like, oh, this guy is talented. But then that dude just took it to the whole nother. I don't like that guy. He's a smarmy bastard. That guy, that's the guy that kills the one. I can't even know their names.
Here's something interesting to ponder. I think too much, by the way. So this is something to ponder. So we were talking about what was it, Ready Player One, and we were talking about Ready Player One and about how the years going back you're obsessed with. So I guess people in 2045 are obsessed with the early 80s, early 1980s.
I guess.
So that's like people in 1945 being obsessed with people in the 1880s. All right, whatever.
Let's go with it. Yeah.
So kids with their proclivities, let's say in the mid 1800s. Where was their black hair dye?
Yeah.
Where was their? Did you start? Like, what was their jam? What did they just become bank robbers?
Maybe
blacksmiths? I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm just wondering. Like, society does influence, of course, our development. But wow. Sometimes you look at things and you're like, okay, whatever. My thing is with all these people, I'm looking at them with all their get-ups on, their music and stuff. And first of all, the music sounded lame as fuck. It didn't sound heavy. It didn't sound heavy to me at all.
No, it's not all that heavy. A lot of that older stuff. I mean, now it's just a barrage of noise and whatever. But like, I that's the one thing I was like, oh, cool, man. Because I didn't want to get blasted with just a bunch of bad music or whatever. And I don't, and they didn't beat you over the head in the film. With it, which is okay too, but a lot of this stuff, like upon watching these things, and growing up in that time period, it's just like I wasn't really scared of that stuff. It just, to me, it was just like an extension of Kiss, like it's going a little further. You know what I mean? Like with the makeup or Alice Cooper. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff. And for me, I'm cool. Gwar. What the hell is Gwar, Timo? Gwar is the weirdest concept of almost all time, and to me, I love it. It's one of my favorite things ever.
But it was a lark, and from their point of view, it was a lark. And that's that was kind of the difference. It's like for me, I'm like,
you can't take that stuff serious. Now, get into something, Timo. All right, let's get off of that because it's music's supposed to be like they were trying to take it too serious. They're trying to start a movement, like, whatever.
And if you have to physically act out, but if you have to physically act out, if you can't win in the arena of ideas, then you do that, then you've lost. At the end of the day, the long run, you're going to lose because if you can't win your arguments, you have to burn down a church.
Yes,
you've lost.
You've lost. Exactly.
You should be able to stop people from going to the church without lifting a finger.
Oh, I did hear the one thing in that documentary. They said, well, they burnt our albums and all this. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. But it still doesn't give you any. You're dumb then because they're dumb.
Right.
They're dumb for burning your books or burning books and or albums.
Right.
It's dumb.
So be above it.
Exactly. Thank you, Timo. And I know who you are. So let's get to a little more fun stuff.
There you go.
All right. Last but not least, Timo, I watched a couple of trailers. The new Joker trailer's really awesome. The new Star Wars trailer came out. Everybody's all up in arms. I'm like, it's basically you're not pulling the wool over my eyes. It's just going to be one of those things where it's a dream sequence, or it's like when Luke went down in the tunnel and he saw himself as Vader. Big deal. Yeah. It's been done. Get over it. All right. You bunch of nerds. Get over it. It's Star Wars. Get over it.
They've become like TV series as like Harry Potter did and stuff. I checked out a while, but I don't know where where things are going.
Yeah.
I don't care
that
anymore.
second one upset me. That second one just kind of pulled. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah. I'll go see it. I will. I'll be there. I'll be there.
I got the first three, the Golden Trilogy. I'm fine.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, I got that. I don't need it. I don't need any of that stuff, man.
Yeah. No, Tim, I bought Godzilla over the weekend.
Which Godzilla?
The newest one.
Okay.
The newest one.
Okay.
I wanted Sydney to see it and actually talked Wendy into watching it, which it took a few minutes or a little while. I should say more than a few minutes, maybe a half hour or so. Because I don't think she watched the other one with me. I don't believe she has. Mm-hmm. But we watched it. So it's my third time watching it. I think I told you I didn't like it the second time as much. I think it was my mood. This time watching it was okay. I actually listened a little more. Mm-hmm. I figured out some stuff that was a little, not perplexing, but I think anybody that didn't like this movie just don't like stuff like this, or like, oh, the story was stupid. Come on, it's about giant monsters in the first place, man. It's about a 400-foot lizard, man. Come on, man. Like, get over it. Right. I had to get over it. Get over it, man. Right. And especially for a guy like me who loves this stuff. I mean, I had to get over it. It is what it is, man. I'll make the Gone with the Wind of Godzilla someday. But I remember what we said, Timo.
Yes.
It's already been made, and it was made in Japan.
Right. 1954.
So, exactly. So, but it was funny. Actually, Wendy did like it. She didn't really say a whole lot. Yeah. And then at the end, like a little bit later, after we watched it, she was looking at the cover and she said, "You know what? I did like that." I was like, "Oh, cool." She's like, so I was like, "Ooh, so now I got you. Kong Island's coming next. Skull Island's coming."
Slow down, cowboy.
Yeah. Wait. It might be weeks between, right? Months, but I got you now.
I think these are fun for today's kids.
Yeah,
and maybe it'll make them go back and see the old rubber suit monster ones.
It's okay. For me, it was okay. I get it. I enjoyed it.
Sure.
I enjoyed it much more than the last one. It's full on monsters. But I don't like some of the monsters. But that's about the only thing. Whatever. It is what it is. I think these next ones, the way they're putting it, I do think Godzilla is going to be very friendly in the next one or two. So
we're going there. We're going down that road.
Well, you got to do something because King Kong versus Godzilla. So you're going to have to either Godzilla goes rogue and they're going to have to bring King Kong in or something. You know how it goes.
I know.
So
I've been down the road. I know.
Yeah. So, but hey, I'm looking forward to that though too. Godzilla versus King Kong. As much as the original still scars this poor little kid. So,
right.
I'll be there. I'll be there too with popcorn. So.
Well, I'm happy for guys like you and Mark Diamond, our friend of the show from the Dwarves, and I am, because I'm glad to see that these things are coming out. They're just not. I'm going to see it. I'm going to watch it.
You'll like it. You won't think it's great by any means. If you mildly enjoyed the last one, you'll like this one.
It was okay. Yeah,
you'll like this one a lot better because there's more monsters. It's not, the CGI is okay, but I just like the fact that Ghidra's in it, for crying out loud. The fact that they brought him in there, and then the way he travels is pretty kick ass. Man. And Rodan's cool. Even Mothra. It's pretty damn cool.
Oh boy!
And I'm not. And, for me,
you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're drinking the Kool-Aid.
It takes a lot for me to say because I don't like Mothra. I cheered when Mothra when he got blown up. But not in this one. I don't know Mothra. No, Mothra. Mothra, no.
Right.
You can't have a monster that can destroy everything in the universe and then can't beat up a moth. No.
Right. Just turn the light on outside. Distract it.
Yeah. They got it right in this one, so I will say.
Okay. All right. So, what else you got? Anything else?
That's it, buddy.
All right. Let's get to our fish that little film for this week. Mr. Ben Harley, going to do one film here for a little bit.
Yes.
A little while in the interest of our personal time. Yes, we are busy. Got lots of things going on. Let's see. From 1989, we have the Dario Argento produced.
Yes.
The Church. So
let me. Timo, I found this on Amazon. It's on Prime right now.
It is on Prime. You're correct. That is correct. I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, we got Movie Guy here and give you a short storyline here for The Church. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah.
An old Gothic cathedral built over a mass grave develops strange powers which trap a number of people inside with ghosts from a 12th century massacre, seeking to resurrect an ancient demon from the bowels of the earth. So that's what it was about. There you go. You got it now?
Yeah.
It's cleared up for you.
Darkness.
It's cleared up for you.
Prince of Darkness. Right?
There's a bit of that. This is a bit of that. Directed by Michel Suave, who directed Del More, Cemetery Man. And did was it Deliria, which was also called Stage Fright. Argento seemed to want to pass a torch to this guy. He was the gentleman who played the guy with the metal mask on in Demons. That was Michel Suave. So that was who that is. So he was climbing up the ranks here and came out with this. Now, this movie was originally conceived as Demons 3.
Oh, really?
So if you see things like things are about ready to take off in this movie and they never do.
That's right.
Yeah. So Michelle didn't want to do Demons 3. He kind of wanted to do something his own. So they morphed it into what it is today. So now, have you seen The Church before?
No, sir.
You have no church and spaghetti sauce.
No. It's
this is.
And I thought it, familiar. Like there's some familiar people in it to me, but I just, I know.
It's late in the Italian horror cycle.
Okay.
It's very late. Once you hit early 90s, it's falling apart. It's falling apart. Right. So you're getting toward the end here. What did you think, Mr. Ben Harley, of The Church?
I didn't like this movie a whole lot, buddy. And Timo has been very good to me over the years and telling me, especially on these ones, just go with it. It's Italian. Go with it. And I tried to go with this one. But I think what hurt me a lot in this film is the dubbing. The overdubbing is
the voiceover stuff. Yeah,
awful in this movie, and
you're right, dubbing. You're right. Sorry, not really voice, but yes, yep.
It just kills me, Timo. It makes it comedic to me, and it takes the horror out of it for me. But I mean, like the setup for it is all pretty cool. I just think like the first half hour is so slow that it just I couldn't really get into it. Now the last 45 minutes. I think should just have been the whole movie. Like if they could have cut the first part down a little bit and
my instinct tells me that when you see everybody file into the church and introduce themselves and then you see the one person run through and scratch a couple people, that was where Demons was supposed to be. When you think about the Demons mythos, yes.
And there's like a couple faces in there that reminded me of the Demon's face. Like, I don't know, like there's a mask or two, like I thought. And there was a lot of stuff like that now that you mention it, because there's a lot of stuff I'm like, well, that's really pointy. And if you scratch yourself, someone's going to scratch themselves on that thing. Right. And then it's going to drip blood and water down into there. And so, it's like, now that you mentioned it, it did have a lot of that.
Right.
Because that's all I kept thinking. And it's all from Demons to me. A lot of that is like pricking yourself and getting something, and then you're done, man. Right. And you turn into a demon. Like,
right.
So that's weird now that you mentioned that now. Because I'm sorry. I'm just thinking more of these things. Like, because the very beginning with like Crusaders and stuff is. Oh,
I thought I put in the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I did. I was like the Holy Grail. And then I hear.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, not the drum sound.
Timo, that is the curse that's my kryptonite. Is that 80s electronic music in these films, man. Yeah. It takes me away from these movies. I feel bad. Even movies I like, when I go back and watch them again, I'm like, ooh, ow. Oh, you know what it makes me think of, Timo? Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay, yeah, all right.
It does. It makes me think of a comedy, like an
80s buddy cop comedy, like with the action drama type. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah,
where it's
completely
like
composed on a DX7. Yeah,
yeah. There's a little bit of drama happening, but we're still in the comedy. But you know what I mean. There's a bad guy and they're coming in, but this is still a comedy, Joe. So just relax.
Right. Right.
So and that's bad, and it's not the movie's fault. It's me, It's like
the
I
time
told
it
a lot
was
of my
made.
girlfriends.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
Right.
But I don't know, buddy. This movie for me was a mishmash of stuff that I was trying to get together, and I understand where they were going, but like some of it was so awkward to me that I'm thinking I got to ask Timo. Now, he tells me to go with it on some of these, but is this supposed to be as awkward? Is this especially awkward for an Italian movie? Because it was awkward.
I think what it is it should have. It keeps setting itself up to take off. It keeps somebody gets scratched, somebody gets looks like they're going to get possessed, and instead of allowing the movie to take off and go bonkers, it's got too many restraints on it. And so once you think a monster's coming out, it's just a person's imagination. Like, so if a monster jumps out of a well and grabs a guy by a throat, they edit back to a character looking at him, he's choking himself out. And I hate that shit. I mean, I absolutely hate it. And you can see the setups for monsters in this. And the couple of really weird things. They just completely stole the typewriter scene from The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
And that the lead MacGuffin, not the real lead guy, the African American actor, Hugh Corsi.
I liked him.
He's from Phantom
good.
Menace, Star Wars Phantom Menace. He played Captain Panaka or whatever.
Yeah. You know what? I kept thinking, man, I know this guy.
He's a good actor. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. He's one of the only guys that's in it. Because who's the bishop? The guy that played the bishop? Awful. Like, you couldn't have got a better actor. You could have called up somebody, and Donald Pleasance or somebody, and brought them in. That guy was terrible, man. Like, he did not. Sorry, go on.
Well, and then so the lead guy, the Evan, he's I call him the lead MacGuffin. He's the guy that's not really the lead guy, but they set up him to be the lead guy in the movie.
Sure,
completely morphed into Iggy Pop. And then completely ripped off Rosemary's Baby when he starts getting on with the main gal and turns into a horned demon.
Yeah.
I thought so. They got Shining and Rosemary's Baby just completely ripped off.
Prince of Darkness. I
didn't even think about Prince of Darkness, but this movie has a lot in common with Prince of Darkness. You are absolutely correct about that too.
But no, with the Rosemary's Baby, all that stuff. But it kept going through my mind. Which
one interesting thing that it's just interesting to me. I'm perplexed by it. The architect, from way back in the past, the architect who made the building, who was strapped up on the wheel of death or whatever, that was John Richardson, who was the star of 1 Million Years BC with Raquel Welch. I didn't know that. I'm like, wow, John Richardson, gee whiz. So that was interesting. I did have to give a special mention to Marissa Kalia. She was in charge of script continuity.
Okay.
I'm mad at her.
I don't like her much.
I'm like, that's not a real person. There's no script continuity in this movie at all.
None.
And the other thing, too, that bothers me about this movie, besides the fact that it doesn't make a lick of sense, and it sets you up for some mayhem that never happens. I mean, it does happen. Mayhem does occur, but it's not the way you expect it to. I got to talk a little bit here about Asia Argento, especially back in these days. Okay. Because once again, she's being perversely menaced by Dario's friends.
Yes.
The Italian film industry, including Dario himself, has sexualized that poor girl since she was a toddler, I think. And I am never comfortable with it. And I'm to this day, even though Asia is close to my age, if I see her in one of Dario's movies and she's naked getting chomped on by something, I'm like, come on. I just don't know about that. I mean,
there's a real uncomfortable scene with her in this that I was like, oh man, like, what's funny is at one point, Tim, so there's a part where they're trying to get that bride out of the door, and they finally get her out of the door. Right before that, he was the father of the girl, Dario's daughter in the film.
The guy that worked in the church, I think.
Yeah. Well, right before he comes and was about to stab the bride, stuck in the door with a big part of a gate right from the front of the cathedral, And she moves out of the way, and the teacher accidentally steps in the way because she can't find her glasses and she's blind.
Mhm.
She accidentally steps in the way, and then he stabs her, and he's like, "Roar!" And I was like, at that point, Tim, I was like, I'm just about done with this. I'm like, I mean, I'm already I was not on the fence, but at that point I was falling off, right?
Mhm.
I was just holding on to the fence about this movie, right?
Mhm.
And then it goes from that scene to like, is nobody shocked that that your teacher just got stabbed in the throat? Because it goes right from that to the scene of these kids sitting in the cathedral, and one is playing a trumpet like he's in some jazz cafe.
Mhm.
And then it goes over to some really weird, I don't know, it's two boys kissing or something thing. I was like, where'd this movie, like, where did this come from? From a lady just getting stabbed in the throat who's this teacher of these kids to like this really weird music video that just started.
Right.
Like what? At that point I was like, I'm done. This movie's done. I've already given my, I know what I'm giving it.
It's an uncomfortable mix of better later 80s production values and throw the kitchen sink at the script Italian 70s and early 80s sensibilities. It's really uncomfortable. And I think what's happening here, and I'm not a big fan of Michelle Suave or Sauvé or whatever you call him. I say Suave, but I didn't like Stage Fright a whole lot. I need to go back and watch it again. Okay. This movie I've never liked. I do like Della Morte Dell'Amore. I do like Cemetery Man. But I think Cemetery Man, to me, I feel like that was a Michelle Suave movie. I feel like these movies are him trying to make Dario Argento movies for Dario. Yeah. And they're just different people. And it makes it uncomfortable and nonsensical. And I think what he did is he took Demons, what was going to be Demons 3, and artsy-fartsied it up a little bit and gave it an ambiguous, unclear ending and an ambiguous, unclear middle. And ambiguous. And I actually followed it better this time. Like I've never understood this movie very much. And I followed it more this time. I've seen it quite a few times. And I followed it. And I was like, you know what? They're not trying to help you in this movie at all. No. They kind of tell you what's happening, but they don't tell you what happens. Like what happened to I mean, they don't really, it's just so everything fell on people. Yeah. And then at the end, I'm like, oh, wow. Whoop, I didn't see that coming. Like, dumb. Yeah. This is not a successful film. I don't think. I don't like it. And I like the Italian stuff. I do. But it doesn't mean I have to like everything. And this is just like, you're right about one thing. It does break the cardinal rule of horror and B movies. Mr. Ben Harley is. It's boring. Yes. Thank you. And it has, yes. I mean, it just was boring. Yeah. I mean, I was snoozing. No, the first half I was snoozing. The second half I was just kind of like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, and for me, buddy, and I'm not a director. Okay. I didn't go to film students. You know, I'm not a film student. I'm an artist, but I think I kind of know certain things a little bit, you know, and I think I know horror movies. I've watched enough of them. Whether, you know, some of the ones that I like, people are like, huh? Mm-hmm. But I've seen enough horror movies to know what a good horror movie is or how to set up a good horror movie, I would think. Mm-hmm. And this is just boring, man. And it's not, I didn't feel any tension. I wasn't scared. Any of the monsters or the priests or anything that was going on didn't affect me. I just felt, I don't know, like, what is wrong with this movie? Is it? Yeah, I mean, when we can enjoy a movie with a giant coelacanth turning dragonflies into stiff giant molds of things and stuff. I mean, we're not being like too damn snooty, with all this stuff. But the thing is that what's so frustrating about it is that when you see the movie, you're like, okay, the beginning should have been about 40 minutes in when all the people arrived at the church. Yeah. And then when whoever ran through and scratched a couple people, that should have been them starting to turn into possessed monsters. And then monsters, and then there should have been the people getting away from these monsters in the church to the end. And you can make the end as weird as you want, as long as you got real tangible monsters and things lurking about, not goat men having sex with it just feels like, no, you just leave it alone. You should have just kept it the way it should have been.
Yep.
It's very unsatisfying. It's very frustrating. And it always has been since day one because it looks neat. And think about it. Oh, demons, we start off in a theater. The second demons, we have an apartment building. Now we go to an ancient church. How perfect can that be?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just, and then you get to the movie. You're like, oh, God, geez, you know. I'm going to on this because it's.
Yeah.
It ain't one of the good ones. And I've tried over the years, over and over and over and over again. The only scene I really remember in this film as years go by is when the young couple, the biker couple, are trying to dig their way out or do something. And the woman falls through a hole that looks like a bottomless pit. And the boyfriend's hanging on to her, and she's looking around and sees light coming toward her, realizing she fell into a subway line. The subway turns her into mashed potatoes.
Oh yeah,
basically.
And it looks like spam. It literally looks like they made her face with spam. It's pretty bad.
I think it killed her. I think
so. Yeah. Well, and I will say to him that was a good part because, like, they're in the church and she's like, he's holding her down and you hear like she doesn't hear the music, but you hear the music going. It's real holy, like, oh, like she's seeing these lights, oh, and then all of a sudden, bam, it just runs her right over. I'm like, oh, that was good. That was good. Now I'll give you that. But the spam, not so good.
Right. I mean, but it's the one part I remember. It's the one part that seems like it's kind of an Italian horror film.
Yes.
And sure. Then the rest of it, you're like, okay, here we go. And it keeps making you think, here we go.
Yep.
Here it's starting up here. No, it's not. It never gets going. Never gets going. And there's a lot of money put in this movie. The production values are pretty good. And stuff.
That's my thing.
There's no story. There's no coherent plot. And the one that's there is just, it's another one of these movies. I'm just thinking of this now. And we've been talking about this over the last month or so. It seems like another one of these fantasy movies masquerading as a horror film.
Yeah.
So it seems like.
It's just not, I mean, and I'm okay. It doesn't have to, be so wordy and I have to know every little thing that's going on. As long as you kind of, that's for the second or third time I watch it. Okay. But if it's not good enough for me to even want to watch a second time, I don't care what's going on. I really don't. I don't. And I'm happy to watch a film and forget things or not know things because I'm so blown away by what's going on and the visuals. Then you got me. But if if I'm like, oh God, I was trying to figure out what's going on, then I'm bored too. You know what I mean? Like, so this movie the first half really bored the shit out of me. I was like, this has got to go somewhere. What's going on? Maybe they're saving something, for later on or something big's going to happen because this is boring.
Yeah.
It was like, The Exorcist 2 boring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good way of putting it. And the thing is, too, is it seemed like they really cared a whole lot about making the movie look a certain way and forgot to give you a story you gave a shit about. So technically, these people can make a really great movie. They just need somebody to tell them like what story to tell. And then because there wasn't any. There was such little. It was there. Mr. Ben Harley. The Italians really the Italian cinema went so far downhill in the 90s. It's really sad.
Really?
It really is. And this is an example of this.
That than me.
Yeah. Well, this is an example of the slide that starts to happen because you start getting into movies like Zombie 4 and things that most people, unless you're geeks like me, probably haven't delved into, and they get just more weird and bizarre and cheap. And let's just try to make a buck. It becomes less fun, more groaning and stuff. So I'm gonna on the church. Don't like it. Don't like it. Nope.
Yep. I'm not on the fence either way. I'm not enough curvy Italian girls in it either.
No. There's not a whole lot of eye candy in this movie at all. And it just creeps you out with Asia trying to be the eye candy. She's like 13 or something. 13, maybe. Right, maybe. Something like that. It's like, I'm a sicko, Mr. Ben Harley, but I got my standards.
Oh, yeah. That's, come on.
Like, no.
I will say that one thing was kind of weird and neat, but you see that they did pull off a Boris painting thing. Do you see that when that girl was naked and the demon had her like?
Oh
his boyfriend.
Yep,
that's a famous Boris painting.
it is. Yeah,
and I was like, oh, okay,
Right.
Whatever.
There's a couple of cool moments in it. The spam going on the windshield of the. That was a memorable moment for me because it's the only memorable kill in the movie. The rest of it's just boring and just like the promise of something horrifying, and the only thing horrifying is the goddamn movie. It's awful.
It's the movie. Yeah, it's terrible.
Mr. Ben, let's get the hell out of here. I don't know what the hell we're doing next week. We'll report back from Fact or Fiction Fest. Let you know if we saw the white flag being flown by old Jeff Byers there.
Yeah.
And
you keep him in. You take care of him, Tim.
I'm going to leave him alone unless he needs something.
Insanity.
Yeah. That'll be his biggest help is to leave him alone unless he needs something. So. All right, till next week, folks, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.